Coming to you live from Coldwater Tavern here on the corner of State Routes 53 and US 224 in Tiffin. I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons, alongside head golf coach at Tiffin University, Darby Rogo. Coach, how are you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you. The sun is shining. We're looking out over the river here at the Coldwater Tavern. It's another beautiful day.
Well, it's name change, new ownership. We talked about Scott Turner coming in and taking over control here at what used to be known as Shell Shuckers Restaurant. And he wanted to put his own little spin on it, and he did so much research, historical research of not only, you know, the land here where the hotel and the restaurant sit, Tiffin itself, the Sandusky River, and that's where the name came from. So in all his research, he ends up finding out that the Wyandotte Indians, their meaning of the word Sandusky is cold water, so hence the name Coldwater Tavern, and we're sitting right now in Coldwater Tavern.
Well, as you know, what a great job by Scott to do some research and find out exactly, you know, something that kind of links to the community. Sure. And that's the way he is, though. He's a community guy, and we're so glad to have him back in Tiffin. And I know he's going to do a great job with the restaurant. And it's a great friend to both of us. And, you know, if you haven't had a chance to come down to the restaurant lately, come down to Coldwater Tavern. The new menu, the food, everything's fantastic. Come down and check it out.
You can sit right here in front of the Tiffin University men's golf poster as well, which has been signed by the highest GPA of any men's varsity athletic team on campus. Is that right?
That's right, yes. We finished up the school year, and the athletic department at Tiffin University had over a 3.1 GPA for the entire year, which is unbelievable. That's, you know, you think about it, we have 600, almost 700 plus student athletes on our campus, and for the overall GPA to be over a 3.1, it just really tells you that when we say the word student athlete, we mean it. It's student first, and I couldn't be more proud of my guys. You know, we had the highest male GPA on campus, and with the guys who all competed in tournaments this year, we had a 3.53 GPA.
Wow.
And I'm excited because I believe that'll get us another academic All-American honor from State Farm and the Golf Coaches Association of America. Crossing my fingers for that. But my guys really get it done in the classroom. I'm really proud of them, and I'm looking forward to potentially we've got a couple guys that will be eligible for academic All-American, one being Corey Martinez, the other being Tyler Moranville. So I'm really excited about that, and looking forward to seeing you know, how that plays out for us.
You know, it speaks to the quality of the student athletes that are being brought here into Tiffin University, not only by yourself, but all the varsity coaches across the board. It's not just go out and get the best athlete we can get. It's bringing kids who are not only going to be great on the field, but great in the classroom and represent the university well in the community.
Well, I think I've told you many a time that, you know, our success is based on the quality of individuals that we have. It's not just about the talent they have on the golf course. It's the quality of the individual, and the whole package is being a good student. You know, as we talk about the accolades that the men's team achieved, I'd be remiss not to mention that the women's golf team, led by Blake DeBrain, had the highest GPA overall between all the men's and women's sports. So he's doing a very good job in his first full year with the ladies, and I'm looking forward to, you know, not only continuing that success, both programs, but also seeing both programs really improve next year on the golf course.
Well, you bring up Blake's name. He was unfortunately can't be with us this week, as have kind of over the summer months have moved the show to kind of a bi-weekly program. But you also mentioned Corey Martinez. He's handling the camera for us. And when it gets time for our trivia contest, which you and Scott got some work to do to catch up with Blake.
We do.
We're going to bring Corey over here, sit where I'm at, and he's going to be Blake. I will give you the questions as I run the camera. So we'll get to that here in just a little while. But
I just wonder, when Corey does that, will he use Blake's accent to answer the questions?
I hope so. He's over there fluffing his hair up, trying to get all prettied up for the camera right now. But don't worry, Corey. We'll get you over here real soon. But, hey, you know, you talked about Corey having a chance to be an academic All-American, Tyler as well. And let's just kind of take a quick look back, starting in September when you guys got started with the fall golf, and, you know, just kind of take us a walk through this school year, which I'm sure was very special.
You know, we were coming off of one of the best years that we had statistically as a team, you know, finishing 5th in the region in 2013. So obviously 2014 season, there was a lot of expectation. We returned a lot of good players. You know, we also graduated some good guys, and so going into the season, there was high expectations. We finished with the runner-up in our first event at Lake Superior State, and you know, it was a good way to start the season. And you know, we were up and down all year. We've mentioned it before. It was a roller coaster season. We had some great finishes. We had some really poor finishes. We had a great event in Las Vegas. You know, I think that really propelled us to a strong spring season.
That was the first spring event, right?
Correct. That was our first event in the spring. We struggled at one of the regionals, and you know what happened is we snuck into the super regional at number 10. We had 36 great holes there. We're T4 after 2 days. Didn't play well on the third day. Finished up the season ranked 9th in the region overall. You know, and It was a great learning experience for us this year. We were still kind of young. Corey was our only senior on the golf course. And now he'll be back coaching with me. Obviously, that's going to help us. Tyler Moranville returns. He'll be a senior. Luke Schlischer returns. He'll be a junior. John Teidenberg, who was all conference for us this year, will be a junior. We've got the two freshmen, Brett Green and Tyler Shepins, will both be sophomores next year. So, I mean, the 5 returners that we have is still only 1 senior. So we're still, I don't want to call us young because we've got a lot of experience on the course. Tyler Reese will be a senior who's been in and out of the lineup. Alex Talbot will be a junior. He's been in and out of the lineup. Brad Snyder was on the varsity roster this past year. He'll be a sophomore. So we've got a lot of talent coming back. I like the talent we have coming in, though. I'm really excited about our recruiting class. We've got some really good young men that I think will help us. And, next fall, it could be one of the most competitive qualifying rounds that we've had to start the season off. We'll open up at home in September with the Kyle Ryman Memorial Shootout. That's second week in September. I'm really excited about that. Actually, I think it's first weekend in September.
Okay.
So it should be a really good year next year. I'm really looking forward to it. But, the guys need the summer to get themselves ready for that.
You talk about your young guys growing up a little bit, the freshmen becoming sophomores. You look at some of the bigger sports like footballs and basketball. You see that growth from freshmen to sophomores. Maybe the biggest leap a student athlete takes. Is it the same in golf?
It is, and I really think the biggest growth is in some sports is going to be physical. For us, the biggest growth is mental.
I'm sure.
Brett Green did, he was in the lineup for the majority of the year as a freshman. He did not play as well maybe as he would have liked or as I would have liked him to play at the Super Regional. But he was there. He competed. He now knows what it takes. His younger brother will be a part of our program next year. His younger brother is very talented. He's playing his high school golf in Michigan right now. His team just won their league championship. He was medalist. He's had a great season. He's going to push his big brother.
Wow.
And he's going to push everybody that's in our program. And so, with that depth and with that experience coming in, I really think next year could be special for us.
And then bringing Corey from a player into a coaching position, that's quite a change, being from the guy listening to the direction to giving the direction. What's he going to add to your staff?
Well, I know the biggest thing he's going to add is experience. Corey was a 5th-year senior. He has a lot of experience. He played a lot of tournaments for us. He's going to be familiar with a lot of the golf courses we play. He will travel with us to every event, which will be the first time we've ever been able to do that. So he's going to be not only helping me, but he's going to be helping the players because there'll be 2 coaches on the golf course now.
It's going to help you personally greatly.
Oh, my gosh. It's going to be great. He's already done so much for me this summer to take a lot off my plate, and because I can trust him with so many things, and we're ahead of where we were even a year ago on a coaching staff wise, just because his availability. But what he's going to be able to provide is that another assurance. When I ask the guys to do something, he's there to support me. It's just going to be another voice that they're going to hear that they can trust because he's a guy that's had a lot of success. Where he's going to really help us out the most is he was such a strong student for us. I mean, he had a 3.82 GPA this last semester. It's, he's going to be an academic All-American because he carries over a 3.8 GPA.
That's fantastic.
And what that will do is, from an academic standpoint, it's going to continue to push us. I won't be satisfied till everybody gets a 4.0.
Sure. Yeah.
And, we had guys do that this semester that hadn't done it before, and I know that he's going to continue to help us grow in that area as well.
Well, Corey, as we said, he moves on from a player to a coach here for the Tiffin University Dragons, and then, we talk about all the athletics across the board, and the GLIAC Conference hands out what is called the President's Trophy for the it's all sports trophies, at least, when you're in high school, probably your school's called it that. But Dragons finished 6th, which is, that's okay.
6 out of 15 isn't too bad.
It's not too bad.
And we need to thank a few of sports that, did really well this year. You know what? We didn't pull our weight this year. We finished 9th at the GLIAC Championship, which is one of our worst finishes of the year. And that's where you get the points from. And so, I'm going to make a promise right now to the university, to the president, to the athletic director, we will be better than that next year. We will get more points for the school. There's no reason we shouldn't finish top 2 or 3 every year at that event. But the teams that did really well and garnered points for us this year to get us to 6th place, what I'm really looking forward to is we're going to improve next year. Football is going to be better. Basketball is going to be better. And the three of us do our jobs and everybody keeps doing what they're doing. I can see us being top 2 or 3 next year, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, and the track and field program is maybe leading the way, and they get sending a bunch more kids off to nationals. And it's Coach Croy and his program just continues success in both men and women.
Well, we've spent so much time in this show talking about how successful the track team is, and they deserve every comment because they've done such a great job, and I wish all those young men and women success at the national championship. I think they're going to do very well. I think 15-plus athletes are
I believe so, yes.
That's
yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All right, well, that's what's happening at Tiffin University, but one more thing coming up, the golf outing. Coming up, I believe, June 18th. Is that what it is?
Less than a month away.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. Are you ready?
No. Come on, let's be honest. We're still trying to, get some teams in. We're still trying to, we're almost full with teams, and that'll close out really quickly. You've got people that are just kind of biding their time, but, getting some sponsorships. If you want to be a sponsor or participate in the event, obviously get a hold of me or anybody in the athletic department. We can make that happen. We're so excited about the event. The handouts this year are almost all of them are Nike products. What's exciting is, that we'll get those for the players, but the staff will get those as well.
Yeah,
so I'm
no
looking
doubt.
forward to some of those neat Nike gifts.
We'll have to
The
follow
golf
you around.
course, is going to be in great shape, and at Mohawk, and it always is. Just the event. Am I ready? We've got everything in place. We just got to put it there.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll be out there as well, collecting, gathering interviews and stuff for the following month's Dragon Radio. And if you'd like more information on the Tiffin University Golf Outing, you can just go to gotiffindragons.com, and that takes you right to the athletic page, and you can get a hold of pretty much any name you see there on the athletic page, and they'll be able to help you out with
we're
more information on the golf.
more than happy to help.
All right. Well, let's talk about the PGA Tour. Well, no, first, Nationals.
Yes.
Division II Golf Nationals. Tell us what's going on.
Well, right now they're in day 2 of the NCAA Division II National Championships up at Grand Valley. Nova Southeastern had a great first day. They shot 3 over in their lead. The representatives from the Midwest region all played solid. Malone right now is T5. They're in the middle of the second round. They haven't teed off yet today. So the leaderboard's kind of bouncing around. Central Oklahoma struggled a little bit. Saginaw Valley struggled a little bit. Central Missouri played well. Our goal is one of those 4 teams, we need them to make the final 8.
Yeah.
And because every team from our region that makes the final 8 or match play garners us another spot for next year's Super Regional. So we start out with 3 spots in the Super Regional that are automatics. Every time you have a team qualify for match play, which is the final 8, you add another spot.
Oh, that's huge.
So I'm rooting big time for those 4 teams to do well, and expect a good second day. I text message Joe Vogel, the head coach of Saginaw Valley State, this morning and wished him well. And he said that they got the rally caps on, so hopefully they'll do well. And Kenny Highland and his boys are doing a great job. And so real excited. Pat Bates, who's the coach at Central Oklahoma, he recognized that name, was on the PGA Tour for many years. Great guy, become good friends. His team, I think they'll do better today. And Tim and his boys at Central Missouri, we're hoping they keep up the strong play. So, but they're in day 2 up in Allendale, and it's gotten to be very exciting. And one of the things that Corey and I were talking about this morning, I was looking at the leaderboard of the 20 teams that are at the national championship. We competed against 11 of them during the regular season. St. Thomas Aquinas, who's playing well out of New York, we played them in Myrtle Beach. They came to our event. Obviously, the teams from our region that are there. Lynn, Nova Southeastern, Barry, who's number 1 in the country, who's right now 3rd behind Chico State. 11 of those teams we competed against. So you cannot argue that we play one of the best schedules in the country.
Yeah, and your kids see what it takes.
Right.
You compete against those teams, and then you see them playing at the Nationals. Okay, I've seen it done.
Right.
I've seen these kids do it. What do I have to do to get to that level?
Well, and you look at it, St. Thomas Aquinas, who's playing really well. At our Invitational in Myrtle Beach, we had a 9-shot lead on them after day 1. They came back and shot, 4 or 5 under par to beat us. That's what it took by a team who's at the national championship. We're very close, and that's why I think I'm so excited about next year. Our schedule's fantastic. We're going to go back to the Brickyard and play in that stellar event.
You always like that event. Yeah.
Oh, it's such a great field. We've already looked at flying down to San Antonio for an event, actually Laredo, Texas. We're going to fly out to Vegas. We're going to host in Myrtle Beach. We're going to put together another tremendous schedule, and all I want to do is prepare our guys for our opportunity to play at the national championships next year.
That's coming. It's coming.
I hope
for
so.
sure. All right, PGA Tour last weekend, the HP Byron Nelson Championship, just outside of Dallas and Irving, Texas, and Brendan Todd is your winner at 14 under par and takes a $1.2 million purse with him.
What another great story. First PGA win.
Yeah.
We've talked about that numerous times. Web.com graduate, a very solid player, very good ball striker. And if you watch it all, I mean, he just didn't make any mistakes. You look at that leaderboard, Mike Weir, a name we hadn't talked about in a long time since he won his Masters jacket. That win secured him enough money on the points that that was his last event he was exempt for.
Oh, wow.
If he had not done well in this event, I mean, he's talking about looking back going to, qualifying school, looking back to going to web.com. That second place finish gave him enough money that he's now exempt for the rest of the season.
Oh, okay.
And what a great story, for the little.
He's a very
Canadian.
likable guy, too.
Oh, he sure he is.
Yeah.
Charles Howell III, another name we haven't mentioned, over the years very much, who is such a good player. I mean, I'd love to have his game. Finishes third. Dustin Johnson, Gary Woodland, both tied for seventh. I mean, so many good players week in and week out. And while yesterday on the Golf Channel they interviewed Tiger Woods, and there's no game plan for when he's going to return. He's hoping to return by the British Open, but they still have no timetable. With him out,
he said he's become very good at video games.
He's very good at video games. With him being out, two things have happened. Adam Scott has moved to number 1 in the world, which Tiger yesterday, by the way, said, don't get used to it. I'm coming back. So that was pretty neat. But also, the fact that it's opened the door for a lot of good young players to get some recognition, and I think the PGA Tour is going to be just fine. Matt Kuchar, another top 10 finish.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is so good.
Yeah, Mr. Consistent.
Oh,
really,
my gosh.
pretty much. Well, when I'm watching that tournament, that's Jordan Spieth's home area, so that was a big topic of conversation. He ends up finishing 37th.
Right.
But also the number 1 amateur in the country, Scotty Scheffler, is playing in this. He's a freshman at Texas, I believe.
Correct.
And he ends up finishing 22nd. Now I'm watching when he gets off the course. I believe it was after his Saturday round, and he gets interviewed, and all they wanted to talk to him about was Jordan Spieth.
Right.
Being compared to him. But would that kind of drive you crazy after a while? Because he's good enough to be his own man, his own player.
He is, and
But
he'll get his recognition later on. But right now, Jordan Spieth is such a big name. He picked up a couple more sponsors this week. I mean, he's
taking the tour by storm this spring.
He is, and he's really becoming kind of the young face of the tour. I mean, they're going to market the heck out of him because he's very likable and he keeps doing well. That's going to happen. So you can kind of understand that, but you also want to respect that this young man deserves the recognition that he's earned because, he's earned his spot, and nothing's been given to him. And to be such a young player, and University of Texas, who did qualify for the NCAA's, barely, without him. By the way, they played without him because he was in this event. So, there's talk of whether or not he'll go back. I'm sure that Texas will let him play the national championship. But there's so many good players, and for him to go out and play as well as he did, I mean that's a testament to how much talent is out on the tour.
Absolutely, yeah. I enjoyed watching him play. It's at that age and be able to play him with these. These guys that we mentioned here on the leaderboard and be able to hold your composure and just be able to hit the ball straight off the tee is remarkable.
Oh, my
gosh. You're playing with guys like that.
Right.
So.
I mean, I get nervous on yesterday just playing with Corey and Blake. So, I mean, I can't imagine playing with these guys.
Well, this weekend they're going to the Crown Plaza Invitational at Colonial, staying in the state of Texas, and another tournament that a lot of plenty of the pros like. And we've got a few trivia questions about that tournament as well. So
that's a neat event because I know that in the past, our alum, Ryan Cossack, who works for the Northern Texas PGA, has worked that event. And so it's exciting to, see that this week, and I'll get a chance to call Ryan and ask him how he's doing because I know he'll be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, let's invite Corey over here to sit in for Blake, and let's see how you guys can do on these 3 trivia questions, which, Darby, you're holding up the rear here. You got a 7-game disadvantage to Blake right now.
Well,
you're only 1 game behind Scott, though.
There's so many other things that I can excel at. Good day, sir.
Good day. Hopefully I can help you out here with
yeah, if you want to tank some for Blake, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, well, I got to let you guys know, remember, I did give these questions to Scott, and he went 3 for 3. I can tell you that right now.
Wow.
So, all right, now, it's kind of hard to read because, as I said, I didn't realize that my printer ink was just about out when I printed this morning. But right now, Blake has a 15-6 record. Scott coming in second place at 9-12. Darby holding up the rear at 8-13.
He likes to remind everybody of that.
Yeah, I do, absolutely. Okay, let's take our first question here. Okay, this player has won the Crown Plaza Invitational twice since 2010 with scores of 259 and 268. Is it Boo Weekley, Zach Johnson, or David Toms?
I'm not too sure, but I'm going to go with Zach Johnson.
I'm going to go with A. Boo Weekly.
Okay, well, I can tell you that all three of these guys have won this tournament since 2010, but Zach Johnson is the only one who has won it twice.
Sorry.
So Darby misses that one. Okay.
Blake.
All right, this the Crown Plaza Invitational has a nickname of Blank's Alley. After what golfer because of his crazy amount of success there? Is it Arnold Palmer's Alley? Is it Greg Norman's Alley? Or is it Ben Hogan's Alley?
Well, I think, making a play on word, it's kind of like the old TV show. I'm going to go with C, Hogan's Alley.
Okay.
I was going to say the same.
Well, you guys and Scott all got that one correct.
Right.
We'll tell you after we're done with the crazy amount of success that Ben Hogan had at this tournament. Okay, the final question. How many players have won the Colonial in back-to-back years? 1, 2, or 3?
Well, I don't really have a clue, but I'll guess B, 2.
Okay, and Darby?
I'm going to stay with that because if he gets it right, I stay with him. If he gets it wrong, I don't follow back. So I'm just going to go with B, too.
The correct answer is A, is 1.
Son of a
Arnold
gun.
Palmer, Ben Hogan won this tournament the initial 2 years it was on. 3 years later, he won it 2 more times, and then it was the last tournament he won. So he's the only one ever to won it twice, and he's done it two separate times. So.
My gosh, he's good.
So, hey, Corey, while you're sitting there real quick, why don't you talk a little bit about the transition of moving from player to coach without leaving out any of the details of last weekend?
It's definitely been an interesting transition. Sitting in a different seat, now I got to think more as, a coach helping them out from it's just a different perspective totally. It's weird knowing that I'm not going to be able to play again. That last event, those last 5 or 6 holes was an interesting time, and I think it was about time for me to move on, and I'm ready to fill the coaching role. So just different responsibilities from, helping them. I'll be able to help with them on the course. I'll be able to follow along, kind of spread our load out. We'll be able to be more places in the golf course, and I'll be able to help them as much as I can.
You look like Darby's been having you caddy for him this morning. Is that what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
All morning, all I've had him do is look up coaches' email addresses to invite to tournaments, but also, he's falling behind. We got to pick out uniforms for next year. I mean, we always got to look good, so I need his help on that.
That's right.
Well, here's a question that was asked to me at work the other day at the golf course, and maybe you guys can answer it. It's about the big grips on the putters. Mm-hmm. What's the advantage of going from, I guess, a standard grip to the big oversized grips? I know there's like real big ones too, but what's the advantage of going to those oversized grips with the putters?
Well, I'll tell you that I use one of the medium-sized grips. I really like the way it feels in my hands. I have bigger hands, so it helps. What it really does is it takes your wrists and hands out of the stroke. The bigger the grip, the difference that it can make. When you putt, just like when you play, you want your hands to be very passive, and this helps from getting too wristy. It's one of the ideas behind it.
Yeah, I think that's the main goal, is to take the wrist out of it, to make it more of, a solid pendulum. Almost the same concept as a belly putter, kind of just to take the whole wrist out. I think it kind of minimizes that.
Do you guys both personally like those styles better than the originals?
I use a standard grip. I don't use the bigger grip, but I know a lot of people like the bigger grip.
I do. Like I said, mine's more of the medium. There's the standard, then you have the really, really large ones. Mine's more of a medium size, and it's really more because I have bigger hands, and it's just easier for me to, when I grip the club, I can keep it from getting too much into my fingertips.
Well, here's another question somebody asked me as I work at a golf course as well. This spring, as you guys know, if it's not raining, it's been sunny with a lot of wind. Mm-hmm. How do players adjust to the wind? A lot of the players I was talking to are having trouble keeping the ball low. Too much air, too much wind, ball's going to do tricky things. And advice for some players when it's windy out there to make sure they keep that ball low and keep the ball moving straight and not moving side to side.
Well, I'd say a couple of things that a lot of people can do, and this is not just when it's windy, but in general, is we need to be on better balance. When it gets windy out, you might widen your stance just a little bit, which will keep you not just on better balance, but also not allow you to make an overly aggressive turn. And then as you come back into the golf ball, just make sure that your hands are leading into the shot. And as you finish, through contact, keep your hands as low as you can through impact, going down the target line. I think what happens a lot of times is a lot of amateurs try to lift the ball in the air. And as a result, they drop their back shoulder and let their hands finish very high. And what that does is that opens up the club face and puts a lot of sideways spin, which ends up in a push or a slice to the right. where when you're coming into the ball, hitting it into the wind, or even just in general, staying down with your hands low through impact and leading into the shot and then finishing low keeps that ball on a lower trajectory.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Corey?
Yeah, I agree, and I think a lot of amateurs who play in the wind seem to think that swinging harder is the key. And actually, I believe swinging lighter in the wind is more important than trying to kill it. You know, a lot of people think into the wind, I got to hit this harder to get it further. Well, truth is, it's not going to go as far into the wind. But swinging slower is going to produce less spin, which is going to keep your ball more on target. You know, the more spin you have into that wind or crosswind,
It turns into a curveball.
yeah,
Correct.
it's gonna blow it all over the place. So the slower the swing, the more control you're gonna have and the less spin in that wind.
Yeah, the more controlled the swing is absolutely correct because it puts less spin on the golf ball. And when you're hitting into the wind, the more spin you put on the ball, the worse it will be.
The more spin it's there with more wind, it's just going to affect the ball more in this ball in this flight path. So, all right, guys, I think that's all we have for today. Anything else you'd like to wrap up and maybe congratulate your kids on their success, not only in the golf course this year, but also in the classroom?
Well, you know, I'm looking forward to working with this guy every day, and he did such a great job for us on and off the golf course academically. I'm hoping that in a couple of weeks we're talking about his academic All-American status. I want to thank Scotty and everybody here at the Coldwater Tavern. Always just a pleasure to work with him, and you know, I appreciate all the work that you do for us, Russ.
I appreciate it. Let me be a part of it, Darby, for sure. Corey, thank you so much for joining us again this year, buddy, and congratulations on your success in the classroom, on the golf course, and sounds like you're really excited about the new opportunity on the coaching staff.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely excited.
And so, as Darby said, special thanks to our great friends Scott Turner here and Coldwater Tavern. Make sure you come out and check them out, 224 and State Route 53. More information on the Tiffin University golf outing, go to gotiffendragons.com. More information on Tiffin University, go to tiffin.edu. Thank you, guys.